I think I'm perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Bitches perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect.
What's good, everybody, man? It's your boy Banco Boxing, and I'm back. I just want to do a quick reaction to the videos I watched today. I've been on Terence Crawford, Barbershop Conversations, and Goodfellas Sports. Y'all go follow them, subscribe to them on YouTube, to like my favorite channels. But they're basically talking about Terence Crawford, you know, and how Bob Arum is failing him tremendously. I can't remember on any of my videos if I've alluded to any of this, but nobody, I think I did, or maybe I never released the video, but I touched on something one time about like social media and certain fighters that have that have rise in popularity or whatever. And I said, you know, how is the pound for pound best fighter, if you want to say Terence Crawford is, and you know, if you look at how many followers he has on social media, when I guess it's contemporary since I'm comparing them in age, will let's say compare him to like Adrian Broner, who has 1.1 million fans just on Instagram, you know. And Fred touched on this. He said it seems like Crawford is a little disengaged from his black fans, which I can agree to. Besides hardcore boxing fans, no one knows who Terence Crawford is. You know, you had I'll just drop another parallel. If we go to Adrian Broner and Manny Pacquiao promotion, when Adrian Broner says "for the hood" or "on God" and I don't know who them is, that's kind of stuff people say in the hood, black people, and it resonated with them. So you saw people, not really hardcore fans, but they know AB and they watch the fight. And this is not a video about AB, but when you can at least say stuff like that resonates with your fans and stuff like that, you can market and they'll buy. And even Deontay Wilder, you know, we talk about Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder went viral to this day. It's still going viral now. Even he went viral probably with Dominique Brazil at the press conference. Now, I'm not saying that they got to act, somebody like Terence Crawford has to be somebody he's not going to be, but he needs to be a little more accessible and talk to the black media more so people be more inclined to buy his fights. I mean, because when you look at it, nobody he really has to fight on TopRank that people want to pay for. But if you can galvanize people and they follow you, they'll support you. He doesn't really have our support like that. He only goes to TopRank events. He's not at the PBC events. You know what I'm saying? If he comes to the PBC events more, granted he was in training camp, so he couldn't be at the Spence fight. But that would have been huge for him, you know, connecting and everybody seeing him out. You don't normally see Terence out at events besides TopRank events. And not only that, so I haven't seen a lot of promotion for this Amir Khan Bud Crawford fight. I think they were on First Take maybe once. They're not running the headlines on ESPN. They need to have commercials like doing the big games, stuff like that of the fight, and they're not doing that, you know. And I blame Bob Arum, blame Terence Crawford too, because like Fred was saying, you know, all the business stuff like that, they knew what they were doing. I know I was having a particular conversation with one of my friends one day about Crawford should have sat out. I mean, granted, he probably would have got stripped from the WBO, but he'd have been free to do whatever he wanted, fight whoever he wanted. All these fights that Bob is trying to act like he wants to make probably will not be getting made because he's going to try to shorthand the PBC fighters. He's not going to want to pay them, you know, what they're worth for what they bring to the table. This isn't a pay-per-view fight. It's only pay-per-view probably because ESPN didn't want to foot the money that they're supposed to pay him for this fight. I don't know how much he's getting. I know he gets a minimum like 3.5 on every fight. It's horrible, man. I don't know if they did. All right, prime example. Fox first major pay-per-view with Errol Spence and Mikey Garcia. You saw them took a page out of HBO's book with the face-off. And then you saw them do like their own type of all-access thing that was running on what, I think FS1 and Fox on whatever days. Now, granted, those two still aren't like the most polarizing personalities, but that still helped them to at least do good in an age where you can stream much anything. So for people to, if they talk about the numbers, you got to remember that's way better. That's another reason I think pay-per-views are priced at $50 and $75 to cover the cost because of how easy it is for streaming and stuff like that. So they're trying to make sure they make their money. I can't prove that, but if I look into it more, I probably can. But TopRank isn't doing that. They need to do it. Or Terence Crawford, take your money and go the About Billions route. I don't know what you would call it. Bud, whatever. Something about Bud or some crap like that. Get on your YouTube, get followers, and start releasing that content. Whether you're in a training camp or outside of training camp. Just, a day in the life of Bud or stuff like that. That would have been perfect. It would have been perfect if Bud's people was around him, like say the fight, and I think it was the Maurice Hooker fight that Spence pulled up on them, and they had that content on their YouTube. That would have raised Bud's YouTube presence and his fan presence even more, because most people are on YouTube now. They're not watching TV and stuff as much as they do. We listen to our favorite channels and subscribe to them and listen to them in the morning. We're not listening to the radio and none of that stuff. I think those are some of the things I think Bud can do. I mean, that way he doesn't have to get out of character and do, different stuff, because he's not like that. He's not loud in your face or saying, the wrong thing or getting in trouble like AB. Even Spence, to a lesser degree, doesn't do nothing. But when it was time, when the lights came on, he did, him and Mike went at it. Mikey went at it verbally. And, Crawford sold a lot of tickets when he went at Benavidez when what was it, like the day 2 days or something before the fight. I have it on my Instagram page, stuff like that. He's gonna have to really do something. Maybe walk out with a whatever a hot rap song is now, man. Befriend some of these rappers, as far as just so they can be like, hey man, y'all tune into the fight, because they, if you got a rapper friend that got like 10 million followers, percentage of that, 10% of that is what, 1 million. Granted, all them might not buy it, but stuff like that, man. Just simple things. And I'm just a guy who went to school, was in business school or whatever, stuff like that. But any simple stuff I know. Now, if they don't care about that, like CJ said, oh well, then they don't care. They just want the money, and they're gonna act like they want these fights. But in truth be told, they didn't want them because they knew what was gonna happen. It's like everything's like a precursor. What's gonna happen. You saw this with Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya, Pacquiao, Miguel Cotto. You saw what Bob did with certain things in their career. So no one could feel sorry for you when you knew what was happening. And that's how I feel about Terence Crawford and TopRank. I can't say I don't ever see the fights coming, but what I try to explain to people is that it took a minute for the Pacquiao and Floyd fight to be made, but those dudes were household names. That fight did numbers. Bob had to say eventually yes to it. Spence and Crawford aren't really household names yet. We don't really have too many household names in boxing now. So it's not going to make the money that people are trying to say, just make the fight, don't worry about the money. It's all about money at the end of the day. If Bob can't really have his fair say so, he's not going to do it. And that's it. That's how I feel about it. I might have missed some stuff. And just a quick take. I'm in the car before I go to the gym. Y'all guys, y'all let me know how y'all feel about this in the comment section. Hate, comment, like, subscribe. I'm going to be working on more content, man.